There's a difference between being productive and being busy. So we get busy with, I need the right logo, I need the right colors, I need the right website. That's not the thing that's going to grow your business. That's not the thing that's going to grow and scale your side hustle. You need to spend time on how you get your client or customer transformation. How can you get them a quick win? You want to get your client and customer a result, no matter what it is you do, right? I don't care if you make shirts, you bake cakes, you do lashes, you're a video editor, you're a coach, you write a book. You want to get them a quick win so they have that confidence in you so you can continue to serve them, right? Continue to help them. And so doing it with what you have right now is like the key. But whatever the thing is you do that thing in excellence, serve your clients and customers in excellence. That's what's going to actually grow and scale your business.
Welcome to Main Street Makers, a bi-weekly podcast that features real, local small business owners who have transformed their passions into profitable businesses. Learn from fellow small business owners on how they overcome challenges, find opportunities, and create thriving operations that make our neighborhoods more vibrant, connected places to live. I'm Tiffany, and this podcast is brought to you by NAV, the business credit platform that believes every small business owner deserves the chance to succeed. Now, let's get to this week's show. Hello and welcome to Main Street Makers. We are so excited to welcome Terri Couser here today. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm so excited. And you said my name all the way right. Come on, somebody. We're starting off good. Look.
Yay.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So tell us a little bit about your business because you are incredibly successful. You have built an incredible platform. So I'm curious, introduce us to your business, but also take us back to the beginning and what those first few months looked like.
Oh my gosh, how much time do we have? Honestly, I'm very grateful because what it looks like now is not how it started, right? And so if I can just give you a quick recap for everyone, foster care, group homes, because both my parents struggled with addiction. That led to me being a teen mom at 17, right? So transparency, minority, female, foster care, teen mom, it didn't look like this, never in a million years. And just to be honest, I couldn't go away to college, right? Because I had a little baby. So I went to a trade school to learn computers. And that led to me working for TransUnion. Young, right? Learned financial literacy, credit, leveraging. And then I went on to buy my very first house at 21. Right? So teen mom, barely graduating high school to buy my first house at 21. And then later, literally retired myself from corporate America at the age of 38. So I have now been a self-employed entrepreneur, speaker, business coach since 38. And it has just been a blessing. I help other people kind of go from zero to 100 real quick. And it's been, I've had a lot of dark days, right? So I think that we don't talk about that enough, but my brand now, I work primarily with entrepreneurs, small business owners, investors, a lot of still also first-time home buyers, because that's where my story started. So that's still near and dear to my heart. And just launching and scaling and just even understanding that there's value in growing your side hustle, monetizing your passion, turning something that you love into something income producing so that you can build legacy and wealth. And so that's where we are now. Look, real quick recap.
That is amazing. And so inspiring. And I think anybody listening is going to be like, oh, I can, come from really anywhere and figure it out.
I think it's important. I actually appreciate you starting there because I think that, the blessing and the curse with social media is everybody shows their highlight reels, right? You start a business and you got a Benz, a Rolex, you're coming out of a jet, and anybody who's building a business, going after your dreams, you have a vision, that it doesn't look like that, and so as you're going through and building and you see all these people having what it looks like, massive success, you're thinking what am I doing wrong? Why doesn't my business look like this? Why is my side hustle? Why aren't I generating more income? So I think it's important to share that day one, year 5 doesn't look like, what a lot of these people who are 10, 20, 30 years in, what it looks like now. So the comparison, it can sometimes be demotivating.
Yeah, I totally agree. And yeah, social media, we just love to put on a face.
So, yeah, 1,000%. So I'm grateful it did not start off that way.
Yes. No, we're so grateful that you're totally open to be transparent. So during those first few months or even the first year, what helped you push through any uncertainty or fear that you faced?
Okay, so look, Tiffany, do I have permission to be honest? Look, I have to ask the disclaimer, right?
Please.
And the reason why I say that, guys, is that when I left my corporate job, I started with a cell phone, a laptop, a printer, my dining room table, a vision board taped to my dining room wall, and just God and a dream. And so I didn't have a team yet. I didn't have, a bunch of equipment yet. I just started. Now, what I will say, the reason why I said, can I be honest, is because I left my job without a plan. I already was a mom. I already had student loans. I had mortgage. I had a car note. And I just was like, I'm going to change the world. I'm going to do this. Like, got a hold of some motivational speakers. And I was like, I can do this. And I left a 6-figure job. Right? I went back to college and had 2 degrees, and I was doing the corporate America thing. And so I decided that there was a bigger purpose for me. And so I had a lot of dark days. And the reason why, I guess it's so important is because I'm the credit lady. I'm the financial lady. But guess what? When you're not earning income, you don't have money for your mortgage. You don't have money for your car note. And so the thing that kind of sustained me is I was like, this must work. I have no plan B. Like, this must work. So it was purely discipline, the fact that I didn't have a plan B at that point, and the fact that I really knew that I could help people, right? At the beginning, I was helping first-time home buyers, then also helping people have multiple streams of income, which are my entrepreneurs, my business owners, and my investors. So I was like, I know I can help them. Like, help me help them, right? Come up with a plan. So I knew I had knowledge, skills, and experience. I was not a good entrepreneur. I did not know how to be a business owner. And that led to me making a lot of mistakes, if I'm honest with you.
I love the honesty because I also had a freelance business and I was a horrible business owner.
Right.
I think it's just because most people don't know that it's going to take so much admin. They don't know it's going to take, you have to be all of the things. Can you talk us through that a little bit?
Yes, all of the things. I guess I thought because I had knowledge, skills, experience, and passion, I'm like, I'm about to launch my business. My phone's about to be off the hook. Like, I'm not going to have enough time to handle all these clients. Like, that's what you think. And keep that excitement, because that's where it will go if you stay committed and you stay to the course and you grow with your business. But what happened is when you're used to having, a paycheck come in, like, no matter how hard you work, like, I show up, get my paycheck, right? That I didn't know customer service. I didn't know marketing. I didn't have systems. I didn't have SOPs. I didn't follow up properly. And for me, at the very least, I had a service-based business. So it wasn't a lot of inventory and all those kinds of things. But people don't understand. Even with the service-based business, you're paying for, Wi-Fi and cell phones and equipment, and you're paying for subscriptions to things that help your business run. You're paying for it. Like, it was a lot. And so what I would say to anybody out there starting is that you have the knowledge, skills, and experience to launch and grow a brand, but also put in the same amount of time to learn every aspect of your business and understand in the beginning, before you're able to hire and invest in help, you are going to do everything. You're going to be customer service, you're going to be billing, you're going to be inventory, you're going to be marketing, you're going to be sales. And to be okay with I call it doing it ugly. Meaning what my website looks like now is different than before. What my forms look like, my processes. So it's like you launch, you help people, you adjust, you get better. You launch. And so be okay with growing with your brand, because that's exactly what will happen as you help more people. You'll get feedback from them.
Yeah. Doing it ugly. That's
ugly.
That's a beautiful, it's not, but that's a great way to put it, because I remember when I first started freelancing, I got the advice to not bother with my website and just have a PDF of my portfolio. And I didn't do it, and I wasted so much time. But looking back, it's like, you could totally do that.
You can totally do that. I'm so glad that you shared that, because it's like, I call it, you'll be obsessed with everything looking perfect. And there's a difference between being productive and being busy. So we get busy with, I need the right logo, I need the right colors, I need the right website. That's not the thing that's going to grow your business. That's not the thing that's going to grow and scale your side hustle. You need to spend time on how do you get your client or customer transformation? How can you get them a quick win? That's a nugget right there, right? So for everybody that knows me, hey, y'all, hey, people that don't know me, I say I drop nuggets, right? So the nugget is that, you want to get your client and customer a result, no matter what it is you do, right? I don't care if you make shirts, you bake cakes, you do lashes, you're a video editor, you're a coach, you write a book. You want to get them a quick win so they have that confidence in you so you can continue to serve them, right? Continue to help them. And so doing it with what you have right now is like the key. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. They would rather get a result, a transformation than your website colors and your logo being perfect. If I'm just look, Tiffany said I could be honest, right? Look.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. And it's hard because I think sometimes that's like the fun part, or one of the fun parts is the logo, the pretty stuff, but you can definitely get caught up in it.
Because to be honest with you, like if we're going to be honest, you can have the perfect website, the perfect logo, the perfect everything. But if your product or service is trash, look, then you're not going to get more customers. You're not going to get more clients. You're not going to get referrals. It's because you help somebody say, oh my God, she did my hair great. Oh my God, she did help me start my business. Oh, she helped me buy a house. Oh, whatever the thing is you do, they're going to, because you do it in excellence, right? Do that thing in excellence. Serve your clients and customers in excellence. That's what's going to actually grow and scale your business.
Yes. I love that. I really love that. So was there a moment early on when things didn't go as planned, like a setback that maybe was a valuable lesson later?
So many setbacks. So many setbacks. I'll say one in particular, and just another transparent thought here, right? So because I'm a single mother, right? And so I remember like some nights where I was crying. I was like, why did I leave my job? Like, this might not have been wise. I honestly, maybe we need to talk about this more just in general. Like, I felt guilty. I felt like, was that responsible of me to go after my dreams, knowing that I have children now, I have mortgage, I have student loans? Like, I remember many days just saying like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Especially like year 1 to 3, where I was really still figuring out how to be a good business owner. But I also, again, held on to the fact that I knew that I could help. And I remember this one particular time, there was an event that I was able to sponsor. Now, y'all, I didn't understand that the word sponsor meant that you pay money. So I already couldn't even afford the tickets for the event. I was like, I'm going to be a sponsor for this great big event. And then I got approved to be a sponsor, and they gave me this great big bill. I said, oh no, like it was more money than I had. Right. And so, but it was a phenomenal opportunity. Right. And so I remember, quick nugget, your network is your net worth. Right. I had some friends that one was a broker and one was a financial consultant. And I said, hey guys, we have an opportunity. You hear my language? We have an opportunity to sponsor this event. And it was like a big name person. And we had been doing speaking events in the community. And they were like, oh my God, yes. And I was like, I need this amount from each of you. The takeaway, take people with you to the top. I got approved to be a sponsor, right? But I had 2 other partners come with me. They actually paid for it. Then I ended up spending a lot of money, like all my savings and checking, to be honest with you, to get like signs, t-shirts, all this stuff. And the lesson is that your network is your net worth and to take people with you. But I had spent all my checking, all my savings, everything I had because I believed in it. Now, it actually did not end up how I imagined, because I was like, I'm about to do this event and my phones are going to be off the hook. This is the break that I need. The people at the event did not care about me. Like, they cared about me, but I mean, like the people, like they were not like, like I need to call Terri to get some help. And so I'm like waiting, like literally like the next day, I'm like, crickets. Y'all crickets. Look, I gotta be me. Like, and I remember feeling that guilt again. Like, was that a wise decision? I'd spent my checking, my savings. Like, honestly, entrepreneurs and business owners, you're going after your dream. There's a certain amount of risk. Now, you assess, you know what I mean, the risk that you can handle, but I just believed it would turn into something big. And 3 months later, it did turn into something big. There was an opportunity. They hired me, and I now made close to 7 figures with that opportunity.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
But the first couple of months, I was like, oh no, like,
What did I do? Oh, that's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like you never really know where anything is going to lead you.
You have to plant seeds, right? One thing I do believe is that, you can't expect other people to believe in your brand more than you, right? So it does take blood, sweat, tears, sacrifice. If you're not willing to sacrifice and plant some seeds and invest into your business, then how can you expect somebody else to, right? And so that's one principle that I was firm on. Like, I'm investing in me, I'm investing in me, I'm investing in me, no matter what the outcome. That takes a certain amount of faith, if I'm just honest, because you're investing without knowing there's a guaranteed outcome. But I do believe there's a principle to sowing and reaping, right? So you sow a seed, you may not know when the harvest will come, but it will eventually come.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, and I think that's inspiring for people who are scared to take risks, either of starting a business or just taking that leap, whatever it is.
It's scary, but you're betting on you. Like, at the end of the day, I said, I know I'm a worker. I didn't leave my job to not work. And so at the end of the day, I was like, if I have to drive Uber, do DoorDash, like in between, like, it's humbling, right? That's another thing that I would say to anybody listening is that sometimes you have those humbling moments and you have to do what it takes. That's what it takes to be a successful entrepreneur, business owner, change agent, leader. It takes you saying, I'm going to get this done no matter what, even if I have a couple of months of a hard time. And so I just knew that I was a worker. I didn't come this far to fail, and I was not going back to my job. I said, look, that was my pride. I said, I will not.
That's amazing.
That was my pride. I'm just being honest.
So did you drive Uber for a minute? Did you have to do that?
Look, Tiffany, 6 months. I had really good credit. I had a black Audi Q8. So if anybody's ever drove over, if you have the black, you get to do Uber Black and you get to like have a higher amount. I live near the airport. But what I will say, because I'm a business coach now, I do everything with parameters. I said, I need this amount of money. I'm going to drive Uber for 6 months. I gave myself 6 months and I gave myself times. Like, I always say, do you want hobby money or do you want business money? Like, do you want to work it like a hobby or work it like a business? So I literally evenings, weekends, whatever. And 6 months to get myself out that hole, running my business full time, about to pick you up and take you to the airport at night and on the weekends. And I didn't share that a lot in the very beginning. Now I tell everybody because I understand that those moments of just doing what it takes to not let my dream die is what led me to where I am now with an international brand and 20 streams of income, driving Uber.
That's amazing. That's so amazing. And I think it's just all of this is so inspiring for people who are in that right now. And they're like, what am I, why? I had to work in a used bookstore, which actually I loved it. But I mean, I worked there part-time while I was starting my freelance business to survive. So
survive. That's 1,000% true.
That's awesome. So let's circle back to what we were talking about. Doing it ugly, basically, is how you phrased it. So what do you think is one thing a small business owner can do right now today to start positioning themselves as credible and professional?
Absolutely. So one thing I will say is that in the very, very beginning, I helped a group of people for free in exchange for their testimonials, right? Like, I literally held a workshop, a credit where this time I was helping first-time home buyers. And I said, I got 15 of my friends. I said, let me help you for free buy a house. I'm gonna work on your credit, do this. And I said, what I would like from you is if I can help you, that you share my brand, you send referrals, and you let me use your information as a testimonial. For you as the business owner too, like I said, I don't care if it's makeup, if it's landscaping, if you're a painter, like if you can help some people for free in the very beginning, then it may only be 1 or 2 people for exchange for a testimonial. You saying you're great is one thing. Somebody else saying you're great is a whole nother thing. So I knew the power of testimonials because that's results, especially when you're new, right? So I'm a business coach now. And so I say, do you do the thing you say you're going to do? Does your product do the thing you say it's going to do? One of the best ways to prove that is by helping a couple of people for free. And be clear. Can I share your testimonial? Can you give me a video or something of that nature that will help establish you as an expert or help establish you at least somebody credible right away? Number two, I would say be very clear about your promise, right? About your offer. I make the best cakes that are, vegan, but they taste amazing. Well, you can make vegan cakes, but they can taste like trash, right? They can be yucky. So make sure they taste amazing. Like, be very clear. I help mothers postpartum lose 50 pounds in a year. I help, business owners launch and scale their business and secure, funding in 90 days. Be very clear about who you help, how you help them, and what their result will be. If you can start to articulate that over and over and over again, not only will it help you attract the right clients and customers, but it will help you hone in on exactly what you need to do to get those people that specific result. So that's something I would say you can do right away. And the third thing I'll say is pick a platform. The post-COVID, and guys, I am a whole geek. I read all day long. I follow everything. And so post-COVID, the way we do business is different. E-commerce is huge. People are online now that were never online before, especially like our elderly community and everything. So you need to be somewhere. I don't care where it is, right? I prefer YouTube, right? Second largest search engine, just nugget right there. But I don't care if it's Instagram, TikTok, whatever. Pick a platform and show up for your audience right now. Tips. Do's and don'ts, testimonials, encourage them. That will help you also build that know, like, and trust factor. And that's not new. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. So show up for your audience and pick one platform to master. 3 things. Did that help, Tiffany? Look.
Oh my God, that was so helpful. Yes, because I think a big thing that a lot of small business owners do is think they have to be everywhere. But you're saying pick one.
Oh my God, being everywhere is exhausting. I'm not even everywhere. Quick nugget, right? You have to know who your ideal client and customer is. So I know the age group of my clients and customers. I know their pain points are usually first generation entrepreneurs, first generation homeowners, first generation wealth builders, right? And I know that they're usually, the reason why I picked YouTube for me is they're Googling how to start a business, how to launch my business, how to earn income, how to buy a house. So I started answering those questions. So for anybody out there, who's your audience? Well, maybe you have a younger crowd. Well, maybe they're on TikTok, right? So then that's where you want to show up. My advice to anybody listening is that don't just pick whichever one you like. Think about who is your ideal client and customer and where do they show up? Maybe you're an author and you want speaking events. Well, maybe you're going to be on LinkedIn. Do you see what I mean? And so pick a platform where your client and customer shows up and then master that. And a lot of times, eventually, look, for another day, you learn to repurpose some content and show up on like maybe a top 2. But in the beginning, so you're not overwhelmed and so you can stick to a content creation schedule, pick one platform and master it.
I love that. Yes, that is a way to help you stay sane for sure. That's great.
Yeah, because you will go crazy all the platforms.
Yeah, or just that will be all your time and then you won't have any time to work.
Very true.
So what's one mistake you see business owners make when they're creating their online brand presence, and how can they fix it, basically?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say, especially now, we were talking about like social media being a blessing and a curse, is comparing yourself to other people or trying to copy somebody who's like super successful. You being authentic, sharing your story. Like, I'm a single mother of 3, teen mom, was in foster care, right? Some people are going to say, oh my gosh. Other people are going to say, I struggled with being a mom. I had turmoil in my youth. I wanted to go to college, but I couldn't because of these barriers. And so being authentically you and sharing your story really helps you stand out. And so talk about why you started your business. Talk about why you want to help people. Share, why this is important to you. I think that especially like in this AI age, right? Like being really authentic really sets you apart because people will be drawn to, there's a lot of people to do credit. There's a lot of business coaches. Why is someone drawn to me? I'm specifically building wealth and legacy because I know if something happens to me, my boys have nobody, right? But my parents are deceased now. I'm an only child. I'm still unmarried because God ain't doing it yet. Do it, God, right? So, but this is where, I grind with a certain purpose within my mind because I was in foster care. That's so important to me that if anything happens to me, that they're taken care of. And so that's what I would say to anybody out there. Be authentic with your story. Share your story. Share why you started. Share who you want to help. And that is going to make you stand out. And don't compare yourself to other brands or try to copy any other brands.
Wow, that's so inspiring. I want to run out and start my own brand.
Start your own brand, Tiffany.
Oh, it's so great. Yeah, that's so helpful. And yeah, storytelling is something we in marketing talk about a lot, but it is true. And it's like, it's not even a marketing tool. It's just telling it like it is and being honest and apparent or transparent. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, in the very beginning of my brand, I didn't share my story. Like, I'm way more successful now, and it's because I started being really transparent. I didn't share that I was a teen mom. I did not share that I was in foster care. I didn't share that both I did not share because I really had the fear. For anybody out there, I had the fear of judgment. I had the fear that people would say, like, she can't be an expert. Look at where she started. And the reverse ended up being true. That because I was honest, because I messed up sometimes. My business wasn't going good. I had to drive Uber. I had dark days in the beginning. I didn't start with a great big, the more honest I got, the more people were drawn. And so what I would say is, like, don't be scared to be true about your story. The people who judge you, they weren't your client or customer anyway. The people that are like, I don't like her. You weren't going to invest with me anyway. And so it's a way to repel people who are not for you. And that's okay. That's one of the things I'll say, especially in the beginning. Everybody's not your client. In the beginning, I took everybody because I needed some, I got you. Now I'm like, we may not be the best fit. Right. You get confident enough to say, this is not for me.
Yes, that's so awesome. And it makes sense too, because when you're building a brand, you're not supposed to be for everybody.
Tiffany, come on, somebody. Look, that is the key. I always say, if you're helping everybody, you're helping nobody. That's why I said earlier, like, be clear about who is your client and customer and how you help them. That's a scarcity mindset. We think, like, if I'm clear about I help women who just had a baby lose weight, well, then I'm not going to get all these other. You're still going to have some outliers, but the reverse actually happens. You start to really attract who needs your help.
That's beautiful. And I think that's very scary for people to limit themselves like that.
It was scary. It was scary for me. It was scary for me. And then I started to learn, especially with like a industry like credit, it can be a lot of people that are in this space, if I'm just honest, are not the best ethically, or not doing the right things. I started my channel because I really wanted to educate people, because I saw so much bad information. And people are like, get an 800 credit score and get a Rolex and get a jet. And I was like, you bet not. Look, that's the Philly in me. You bet not. You're going to buy a house, start a business. So I started being really clear about, like, the person who's going to be drawn to my brand is leveraging credit for income producing assets, income producing information, legacy, wealth building, right? You want to retire your spouse. You want to change your zip code. You want to, send your kids to college with no student loan debt. So you start a business that's income producing so you can do better for them. So the people who want an 800 credit score for red bottoms, they're not my client. They're not going to be drawn to me. And so, and that's okay. That's the message. It's okay.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm curious. So you obviously know a lot about credit.
Yes, too much.
And that's definitely a big sticking point for a lot of people, because it's so difficult and it can be such a challenging field to navigate. So how do you explain credit as a tool to someone who's only ever seen it as debt or risk?
Yeah. 1,000%. And what I will say is that it's about being a good steward, right? Especially if you're going to be an entrepreneur and grow and scale your business, you have to get good with managing money. Like, because there's nobody hanging over. Like, you're going to have to get good with what's coming in, what's going out, what you're paying for, all of those things. And so what I would say is that it literally just matters what you're using your credit for. Period. Like, I am very big on simplifying everything. So when I say you're leveraging credit to build wealth, I'm going to put it in two buckets. Like I said earlier, income producing information, income producing assets. So what's an example? Income producing information could be investing in a training, a course, a coach, a masterclass that's then going to help you grow and scale your business, invest in real estate, do those things that's going to bring you back income. That way you can pay the credit back and have a surplus and continue to grow. Same thing thing with income producing assets. Starting and growing a business is an asset. I'm also a real estate investor. I've been real estate investing since 2004. And so this is where you buy, you do something like house hacking. You buy a duplex. You live in one unit, you rent out the other unit. Well, the tenant's rent is paying for your mortgage. You're getting tax write-offs. You're building equity. You're living rent-free. And now you're using that money to grow and scale your business. That was a wise use of your credit. So using your credit for assets, not liabilities. And I'll take it a step further real quick, Tiffany. Like, for people to say, well, I work hard. No, I want the Benz. I don't want to shame anybody who wants nice things. Like, it's okay to want nice things. But what I will say is the order in what you do things can dictate your success. So when people are not financially literate, they'll just go buy the Benz. I got $1,000 a month car payment. I'm like, what? Can you live in that car? Right? But when you're leveraging for wealth, you get the income producing duplex first. Maybe the duplex yields you $2,000 a month, and your car, then you get the Benz, and the Benz is $1,000 a month, but you put the income producing thing in place first. It's going to pay for your liability and still give you a surplus. So leveraging means using your credit for things that are going to bring you a return, an ROI.
Yes, yeah. I love that. That's very, very helpful because you
Was that helpful? Because listen,
yeah, because you have to. It is. It's very confusing. Yeah. What are some of the most asked questions when it comes to credit repair that you get?
So I think there's a lot of bad information out there. So people will be like, I want to do a credit sweep, and they'll pay like all this money to somebody who's like, give me $5,000 and I'll sweep your credit. And let me say this part slow. So what I'll always say to people is, if that person could really erase all your credit, everybody would have an 800 credit score and they would be a billionaire. That's not true. It's just not true. Now, the blessing is that you can absolutely repair your credit. And so being really clear about what you want and understanding your credit doesn't even have to be perfect for you to leverage it to build wealth. And so takeaway number one is financial literacy is something that's going to pay you for a lifetime. Do it yourself. It doesn't take that long. Literally, we help people get results in like 30 to 90 days. Instead of paying somebody $100 a month for 2 years, that's ridiculous. That's $2,400. That's your down payment. Learn how to do it yourself. Number two, it can get turned around quickly, right? Like, nobody should be in credit repair more than 12 months. And then the third thing would be clear on what it is you want to do with your credit, because you're trying to get an 800 credit score when you can get a mortgage pre-approval. Say you want to be a first-time home buyer with a 620. So when you're clear about what you want to do with your credit, you can usually get to that goal a lot faster. And then transition, obviously, into business credit.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I will say we have had other business owners that we've talked to who say that their CPA is absolutely vital for their business. Like they're basically like the mentor. So it definitely depends, but it makes sense that like if you can do your own bookkeeping, then go for it.
Then go for it. And mind you, like that may be one of the things that you leverage some of your credit for. Like, I help people heavily with business funding, right? That's a wise use of your money. If you need to, you get a business line of credit for working capital, right? So part of your working capital is a CPA to keep your books straight because you want to be free to run your business, and they keep you out of trouble and help you invest. That's a wise use of that money, because if they're good, look, come on, somebody, they're going to help you make that money back, right? And save money and not have to owe the IRS the millions and trillions of dollars, right? And so that's a good use of, your working capital to run your business for daily operations.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned business credit. So how do you tell others how to build business credit?
Oh, it's such a beautiful thing, Tiffany. It's such a beautiful thing. So what I will say is, the reason why I say it's a beautiful thing is because you can build it so much faster. You have so much more flexibility, so many more options. And literally, like I kind of tell people to differentiate, with your personal, it's your personal name, your date of birth, your social. You have one credit profile with 3 bureaus. But with your business, each EIN has its own borrowing power. So let's say you have 3 businesses. Let's say you are an author, a personal trainer, and you walk dogs. And you have 3 EINs. You can literally build business credit for 3 EINs. Let's say you learn how to secure $50,000 in funding in 90 days. Times 3, that's $150,000. You're leveraging wisely. Look. Remember we said leverage it wisely, right? So the blessing with the business credit is that you can do it for each EIN, for each business. You have more options. You can scale it. So what I would say is that make it a priority, or at least something that you pay attention to, especially when you're new. Listen to me. And the reason why I'm saying that is because you're with being an entrepreneur, your money can go like this. Right. That's what we talked about. You have high months, you have low months. So on any month that's low, you want to maybe have a business credit card, a business line of credit, a term loan that you're using responsibly that maybe pays for your virtual assistant or pays for your systems that keeps your business out there, or pays for your iPhone because you're a podcaster or a YouTuber. You know what I mean? It pays for your Wi-Fi because your whole business runs on Zoom and, all these systems. So it's very good to use the business credit as a way to keep your business running and scaling, and just use it for wise things. And start from the very, very beginning, I would say. One of the things that I love is NAV Prime. And I talk about it all the time because part of it is doing the work and the other part is monitoring it. You have to pay attention to it. I did all this work. Is it actually showing on my business reports and my personal reports? Are they separate? What's there? So just being very clear about also tracking. That's a success principle. Tracking what you're doing so you can then know how to continue to grow it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And Nav Prime gives you credit reports, business and some personal credit reports that you can.
And for much cheaper. Like, people don't understand business is business. Like they will charge you hundreds of dollars just for your credit report. So one of the reasons, transparency, one of the reasons why I like NAV is because I was broke. I need to see my reports. I'm not paying you $500 for my credit report. I need to see it now for $79.99.
Yes. Yeah. They can get expensive if you get them directly from the bureaus.
It's actually very expensive. That's another thing that people kind of miss, is that with consumer credit, there's a bunch of consumer laws. It's regulated. They can only charge you for certain things, certain amounts. But when you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, it's business to business. It's not regulated. There's not a bunch of laws. You don't have a bunch of rights. And so they can charge you whatever they want. So when you find services that are credible and legit and that can get the job done for a lesser amount, that's wisdom. Leverage the tools you have access to grow and scale your brand and monitor.
Yes, definitely. We love to hear it.
Yeah.
So you built your business while being a mom and juggling multiple roles.
Yes.
How did you stay consistent and avoid burnout when you had limited resources and time?
Look, who said I avoided burnout? Look, can we be real, right? It is. I'm not even saying can be. It's very overwhelming, especially in the beginning until you have systems in place. That's one thing that helped me tremendously. One of the very first things I invested in before you could get AI and funnels and all those things like now is my very first funnel that kind of streamlined one of my processes was $7,000, right? And I earned $90,000 from that funnel in the next 90 days. And it still kept on paying me.
Wow.
Yes. And so what I would say is that I was able to invest because I had some credit at that point, but it was a good investment. And so what I would say is stick to a schedule. So if I could give you some tangible things right now, stick to a schedule, right? Like I have an office in my house, my home office. I don't do work in my bedroom. I don't do work in my dining room. Like I go to bed at a certain time. I wake up at a certain time. That discipline and consistency, especially as an entrepreneur or somebody who's building your side hustle, is going to be critical to your success. And let's say you have a full-time job and you're working your side hustle. Maybe you're saying every Saturday morning, I'm working on my business, or every 1 hour every evening. Set some parameters. Number 2, set a place in your house or wherever where you actually do your work. Like there's even mental to that. It's business time. It's go time, right? To do it. And then number 3, be okay with taking breaks, right? But don't quit. Jesus, I would never be where I am now had I stopped during those dark days. So if you really are at a time where you're like, I just can't do anything, have a bad day. Don't have a bad week. Don't have a bad month. Don't have a bad year. Have a bad day. I am done. This person yelled at me. This person didn't pay an invoice. I got a shut off notice. I am done. Drink some tea and go to bed. And then the next day you get back at it, because the discipline is what equals success, hands down. Not inspiration, not motivation, not even passion. If I'm being honest, discipline is what gets you massive success.
Yes, I love that. And actually, I had a professor in my grad school program who I did a writing program, and she said the best advice she could give any of us is butt in chair.
Come on, somebody. I love it. I might use that one. Look, Tiffany's professor said, look. I love it.
It did help though. I was like, okay, I just need to sit here. Even if I stare at my screen for an hour, I'm here.
It's the truth, because the reason why discipline is so important is because every day you're not going to feel like it. You can love what you do. There's going to be days you're sick. There's going to be days you have a headache. There's going to be days that you're overwhelmed. There's going to be days, I'm a single mom. You got a bad grade. The school called me. This parent-teacher night and I forgot. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to have all of these distractions come. To be honest with you, as soon as you start on your legacy building and your wealth building, all the distractions happen. You start your business, your car breaks down. You start your business, somebody borrows money from you, doesn't pay it back. You start like it. That's how it's like the universe saying, how bad do you want it? And I'm just going to take a step further. It's like they ever hear the saying, greater level, greater devil. Well, you have to be able to handle at this level before you can be blessed with increase, because more money doesn't mean your life is easier. It means the problems get bigger. You had a $500 problem with the car. Now you make more money. Now you got a $90,000 payroll problem, right? So it isn't like it goes away. It's just that you get better at managing it.
Oh, that's such good advice. And yeah, and you can start today, start here, start where you are.
Look, I recommend it. Start today. Look, one thing COVID taught us, and I really mean this, is that we're not promised tomorrow. Growing and starting my business was by far the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life. And by far the most rewarding. If I had to go back and go through all the ups and downs, the times I made money, the times I lost money, the times I was crying at my dining room table, if I had to honestly, and I mean this with everything, like if I had to go back, I would 1000% choose this path all over again, because far beyond my years, all of this will still be here. And the people that I've helped, like the days that you're like, why did I do this? You'll get like a text, like I bought my first house. I got my first client. Like, I have people like I got one of my clients sent me a picture of her husband, and her 2 kids. We spent the very first night in our house for Thanksgiving. Like, they don't even know. Like, sometimes I cry. Like, I do. I'm such a crier. Like, I'm a little bit older now, so I think I might be like going through menopause too. But like, I cry at everything. But it's like those things that make you feel like, I'm so glad that I did this. Like, that you impacted somebody. So it's by far the most rewarding thing you will ever do.
That's amazing. I love that so much. Well, thank you so much. Do you have any sort of final words of wisdom for folks?
Yes. So what I will say is that I don't take business, credit, or financial advice from anybody I would not trade lifestyles with. Let that sit right there. A lot of times, so many of us are going through building something and we're not having results, but you're asking somebody about financial literacy, the car just got repoed. You're asking somebody about building a business that isn't a business owner. You're asking somebody about parenting that doesn't have kids. You're asking somebody about relationships that's on their 5th wife or husband. Like, pay attention to the source, especially in this age that we're in. There's so much information. There's so many people out there. So I kind of ask myself, and I'm very respectful, right? But I take things with a grain of salt. If you don't have the outcomes and the results I desire, respectfully, you may not be able to guide me in this area. So everybody out there, entrepreneur, small business owner, aspiring entrepreneur, investor, as you are building this dream, this passion, going after your vision, just be mindful of who's speaking into you and being aware of you being in control and being able to also make your own decisions.
That is excellent advice. Yeah. Especially with social media and YouTube, and
everybody's an expert. I'm like,
yes.
How? Like, because you said you're an expert, like, who did you help? What credentials do you have? You have a microphone. You're an expert.
Yes, exactly. Well, This has been so fun. Thank you so much for joining us. And we the nuggets, like you say, but we have so many of them. So I'm really, really excited for our listeners to hear this episode. I think it's going to be really inspiring for everybody.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. And we'll have to have you back at some point for sure.
Look, say less. I'm coming back.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to our guest for sharing their story, and thank you for listening today. Keep in mind that every small business is unique, and there is no such thing as one-size-fits-all advice, so take only what you find helpful. We look forward to next time.